Hey, yo, Chris, where you at? I'm in town.
What's good, Josh? Your boy Chris Hovers. We are back with the Solo Dolo podcast. And today we are rocking out with an amazing artist, Mishijah. Welcome. Welcome to Humane Studios. Welcome to the podcast. And we are glad to have you.
I'm so happy to be here. This whole spot.
Thank you. Yes, I attribute it to all my dope creative homies who put this vision together. Yeah, it's dope. It's a great time to be a creative. So, we're here today to talk about your music, because you recently dropped a project. And I just want to say, I love when I can listen to music and it takes me places. It makes me see certain, how can I say this? When I listen to your music, I can imagine certain things. Like, your music has a texture that reminds me of like kind of like satin curtains and like very like high end living. I don't know. It really give me that vibe though. Like, it's really dope. So I wanted to bring you in today to like unpack, just what went into your music, the content of your music. Because you're really talking about some deep topics and really a lot of stuff about, self-discovery. And I want to get into that today. So wherever you want to start with that, first, let's go ahead and start. Like, where did music meet you in your journey?
Okay, before we start, I just want to make sure we're recording, right?
Yep, that's recording.
Okay.
I know it looked crazy. I know it looked like that little line just not. Yeah, nah, it's good.
Okay, that's I recorded a podcast and didn't capture
Oh my gosh, I got a couple episodes like that. I'm like, I'll start. I'm like, y'all, I started recording. I said a lot of stuff, but I didn't have the audio or my mic receiver died. Nah, it's all
Heartbreak.
good. Yeah.
Okay.
That's that real content creator stuff.
It's jumping out. It's jumping out.
Yeah, we was doing a podcast yesterday and I had the computer set up in there and it was connected to the studio monitors and I kept looking in there like,
Making
is it
sure.
good? All right, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good though.
Okay, so back to your question. Where did like me and music?
That's such a dope. I like how that. Yeah, I like how that sounds.
That was the way you worded that. So I grew up around music. Like all black people, or not.
I could tell
black.
you. I could hear it. Like I could tell you. I could get a sense of what your mama was playing or your parents, whoever.
Yeah. Definitely just Sunday morning car rides. Like I have the same way you said music can take you to a place. Like Erykah Badu's Baduism. Like I can instantly be in my child's self because I remember that's what my mom played like over and over. So yeah, just as a child, it was just talent shows at Thanksgiving.
Dope.
My dad is a musician. He plays several instruments. And so it was always, I saw plaques on like the wall growing up. So music was like this, it was very present in my life.
Gotcha.
And my family really cultivated it. I hope I was speaking into it.
No, you good. It picks up. I meant to say that earlier. So the top of the mic, just speak over that, and it's gonna pick up. So. Okay,
cool. But yeah, my family really cultivated that. Like just all of us, talent shows were the thing in my family, So yeah, that it's like just something that I do. It's not even like this big. I don't know.
It's been a part of who you are already. I get you.
Yeah.
If you could give us a short biopic, or let's say like a little short film of Mishijah's life, where she's from, who she is, what's your story?
This is like, I love this.
I know, right?
You're
getting it.
That's super dope. Okay, so this is a young child from Flint, Michigan. Very much like tight-knit family, but like a lot of family. I come from a huge family. My mom has very humble beginnings, and she was like, I want to get my child out of here. Moved to Atlanta, and she was like a flight attendant, so I lived with my aunt. and uncle, and they were very churchy. So I was in the church, and I got like the choir. You know, that was my little piece of like choir world.
Okay.
In that church, you know, getting that music, gospel. She had us listening to Radio Disney.
Wow.
I know. So yeah, where am I at? Oh yeah, moved to Atlanta. I've grown up here. I always say I'm like an honorary peach because I grew up here in Atlanta, and I think it's a very particular energy, sound that the Black people here in Atlanta kind of have within them, especially if you grew up in the Snap era. You know, like it's just you get that Usher Confessions era. It's just something in the water here that I'm so grateful. I'm always like, I'm glad that I was like here during those years.
I feel that.
To cultivate my own sound. So yeah, I think that was a gist.
I like it. I like it. I definitely think that is dope to be able to acknowledge that as a creative, like what eras of music you actually absorbed, you know, growing up, like whatever the soundtrack to your life was. And shout out to Julian Butts. One of our friends, he got a show called Soundtrack to My Life. And yeah, that was a little, anyway.
Did you grow up here?
No, I didn't. I'm actually from DC. Yeah, I'm from DC. So I grew up on a lot of go-go music, and I want to say like early 2000s, like it really, I mean, a lot of Atlanta sound, you know, a lot of the stuff that was out, like where music was in the early 2000s, a lot of the hip hop, R&B, pop music, like that's what I was subconsciously soaking up. My sister was heavy into music. Like as far as like consuming it, she would like, I wasn't the kid that would go on like LimeWire and try to download stuff. Or I wasn't that guy. I was just like, I would walk out into the living room, see my sister on VH1, she watching MTV and stuff, and I'll just sit there. I'm like, oh, okay, some music videos on, that's cool. And yeah, I didn't start really getting into music until like probably like coming out of high school. Started to really be like, okay, whose album is this? Like what artist is this? But before that, never really I was never really the music guy. I never imagined myself being anywhere in music. But my dad, he plays the drums. He plays a little bit of the bass, I think. He's been in the church, you know, a lot of his life. And when he was around in my life, because him and my mom split around, I think like age 7. And I used to be in the church with them around that time. And then once he left, I was like, all right, let's chill at home. But my brother also plays the keys. So he played in go-go bands growing up in DC. And so that's where so I guess I soaked up a little bit of that. And then now I'm seeing how, you know, all the music that you've listened to and you grew up around, it starts to culminate later when you start to do your thing. So
shout out to older siblings. I have a cousin, but she's really like my big sister. Shout out to Bree. She used to download like LimeWire, those CDs, you know, write all the tracks on the CD.
I remember the little black Sharpie mark on it.
So when you said that about your sister, it reminded me of her. Shout out to our big, you know, big sisters. But yeah, that's dope.
Yep. Let's see. How old are you?
I am 31.
31. When's your birthday? March. So you're in Aries? Pisces. Wow. Pisces. So my sister's birthday is in March. She's in Aries. My two older sisters, and I say that because I got step siblings too, but my two older sisters and my mom, they're all Aries. Okay. I'm a Cancer.
Fire. Oh, Lord.
I know. Oh, Lord. Poor baby. They done made me fizzle out. I'm like, oh, God, it's hot.
Hot fire.
But,
so funny.
Man, it's a trip. Dang, what was I going with that? I brought up my sister for a reason. Oh, yeah. So, yeah, she's, but I asked that to say, okay, so your birthday, not too far out. What has 31 taught you so far? Like, what has been what mountains and have you surmounted? And what peaks have you come up to? And insights have you gotten from 31?
So I remember like the end of my 20s, I was very much like, I cannot wait to get in. I was so tired.
Really? What?
27, when I hit 27,
crazy.
life was, woo.
Life had no hands.
It had hands, you know,
Dang.
and I was just growing so much. I think I was like coming online consciously as a woman, as a Black woman. And it's like, I think that sometimes in our younger years, we have, talking to the mic, we have these, we're not conscious of things. We're not able to see or understand concepts, just life. I know for me, that was the case. 27, I really was like, oh, okay, this is like, you know. And so I was ready for my 30s.
She said, "Get these damn 20s out of here."
I'm done. Bye, y'all. See y'all.
That's the first time for me hearing that. Like, no, I might have heard that one other time, but usually people cling to their 20s. Like, I love the 20s, but that's interesting. Okay,
I'm an old head. Like I know.
I feel you have an old soul. You do. You have
people
a very...
see the little petite body. Soft spoken voice, and they think that it's this one thing, but the people that know me in real life know that I'm like granny almost, you know.
Okay.
And not granny like old and decrepit,
Yeah,
but just
yeah,
like
mature.
Yeah, we'll say that mature. So,
you definitely give me like rich auntie vibes. I'm not gonna lie. Like when I listen to your music, I picture like this fancy ass place that's just like, damn, it smell real good in here. Like the curtains look real nice.
Right, it's comfortable.
It's dope.
Yes.
Real cozy.
I love that. But yeah, so 31. I think I am just kind of settling into this third decade, first of all. And I'm a lot more confident. I have so much more confidence in my 30s. Oh my gosh. You know, I wish I could go back to my 20s and give it to myself. Yeah. So much more confidence. So just confidence in where I'm headed in life, my vision, what I want for my life. I think that is what 31 has get to me. Like, okay, girl, you good, babe. Like, relax. You don't have to be so, even if it's not what you want at this very moment, like everything is really okay.
That's dope.
So yeah.
What do you think your 21-year-old self would say to you now? Like, what do you think they would think right now? Like, oh girl, you cooking right now. You snapping. I see you. Or, you know, whatever else it would be.
Yeah. I always have these moments where I'm like, okay, my teenage self would love this about me. So 21-year-old me, she probably would be like, okay, this is great, but get this together.
Get this together.
You know, but it's both. I'm a very duality for me. So it's like, yes, thumbs up, amazing, you're doing great, sweetie. Also, like, sit up straight. You know, she would be proud though. 21-year-old Mishijah would be proud for sure. That's at dope. This body of work alone, I am proud of myself. So.
Okay. Does your family or any of your close friends have nicknames for you?
Yeah. Oh Lord.
What are some of those nicknames, if you don't mind sharing?
We just had this conversation literally yesterday. That's funny that you asked. So the oldest nickname I have is Shada Booty.
Shada
Booty. Yes, I know. That's my mother.
That sounds like some mom stuff. Yep.
And then my very close family, like that I really grew up with, my grandmother, my aunt, my second mom, Shy.
That's dope. Yeah, because you have a very unique name. I'm not gonna lie. Like I was like, what can I don't know how do I
right.
I don't see, like, my full name is Christopher. So like Chris is just, you know, easy. But yeah, I was like, I can't see a nickname in this.
I'm glad that when you introduced the podcast and said my name right, I was like, oh. Yeah. Most people do not get it right.
What do they say?
Mishijah.
Mishijah,
like
what?
Right. Mishijah, that's the one right
that
there.
sounds interesting still, though. I like that.
My cousins call me that to be funny. Like, yeah, girl. But yeah.
It'd be like that. Let me see. What was your household like growing up?
Ooh,
like any siblings?
Yes. I have 4 other siblings. My dad has 4 other children. So I have one brother, 3 sisters.
Okay.
Shout out to Taj, Will, Candace, here. And then I have, again, my cousin that's like my sister.
Okay.
I really was like in the house with.
You gotta cherish cousins that feel like siblings. Oh my gosh, that's a like underrated conversation too. Like cousins are like the brothers and sisters you really wish you grew up with, but like I mean you still grew up with them, so that's funny.
Yeah, like that is my hide the body. I don't know if I should say that. She is who I would call if I'm in jail.
Okay. That's another good question. Who would you call if you're in jail?
Yeah,
we cooking right now. We cooking.
Right. We really are.
Speaking of my mom, she just texted me.
Shout out to moms.
Shout out to mom dudes. I'm trying to get my mom on my podcast.
Ooh, that would be cool.
Oh my gosh.
That dynamic. What is y'all's dynamic like?
That's a great question. Fire and water. Literally. Right, like she growing up, my mom had a very like I won't say it was like a tough love, but there was not much affection. Like it took for me to build a relationship with my stepmom actually and cultivate a relationship with her. And I'm like, I'm talking with her and I'm like, all right, love you, mom. And I'm like, dang, I don't say I love you to my own mom like that. And me and her had a conversation about it. She was like, well, maybe you have to start saying it. Like maybe you have to be the one to open that door for her. And for a long time, we go through life looking at our parents as authority figures and like our parents and not humans. So that conversation prompted me to really talk with my mom, just asking her, questions like, what was growing up like for you? Like what were some of your biggest dreams? Stuff like that, like things that you don't normally ask them. And the conversations and the information I learned about my mom, I was like, whoa, I didn't know you went through stuff like that. And so our relationship has grown into this beautiful, like transparent, very therapeutic space where it's like, without even really saying it like that. Cause I asked my mom once recently, I was like, when you feel down or like things aren't going well, who do you like depend on? Like, who do you call? She was like, nobody. I was like, damn. And it really made me think about that because I know for me personally, I've never given her the space to, vent or feel like that. I just always look there as mom, So our relationship now is really, really dope. Very much so open. We say I love you to each other. And I think that's important. Like a lot of people don't have that affection with their parents. I didn't have it with mine for a long time. Like I don't remember growing up and my mom was like, oh, come here, baby. Like stuff like that. She didn't do that. She was just like, hey, look, y'all better hop on that bus, go to school, come back up. You're not going out this time, stuff like that. But she's very firm, very stern about the wisdom that she imparts to people. And she's a very warm-hearted soul. Like she's very generous. I get a lot of my generosity from her. But yeah, we're like both, we know how we like things. So it's kind of good that like I eventually moved out and just did my own thing. Yeah. Because us two together for too long is like, look, nowadays I'm like, mom, just let you cook. I know you like things the way you like your house a certain way. When she walk in the house, it's like certain things better be right. I'm like, look, I'm gonna just get out your way. Yeah. But that's my dog. She's that's my lady. So
that's beautiful that y'all were able to, even in like not in your childhood, you didn't have that, but just being able to cultivate that as an adult. That's super dope. And a lot of times it's like that with some parents. It's like we didn't get it right in the adolescence and the childhood, but we can
make up for it now. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting how home life early on in your childhood influences your adulthood. And it's so interesting. So let's see. Let's get into the music. I really want to get into the music. So let me click this over here because I know. So I want to ask you, talk about Alchemy. Alchemy is your new project. What inspired Alchemy, and what did you feel so deeply that made you want to transmute this? And I know that's a big theme in this project.
It is. It is. It's so funny because I wasn't like, the project really just came together on its own.
We love that.
Right, I really do. The first song I wrote was "Put Me on an Island." And
wow,
that was,
that's a bop. That's a bop. That's crazy. Okay, okay.
That was in 2020, like the summertime pandemic. We're all at home.
Shit, put me on the island. I can't take it.
I was on the trail, literally, like walking. Like, I wish I was somewhere else. I wish that we were not on lockdown. And I really needed to like speak life into myself at that time because I was not. My reality wasn't. It didn't reflect what I wanted for myself. So I'm like, all is well on my end. Put me on an island, you know, just like let me really speak life into my future self, into where I want to be. Because right now we on this trail in the woods. Everybody's on lockdown. So yeah, that was the first song that I wrote for this project. And then I was going through like a heartbreak. That like 2019, 2020. And so everything I was writing was like sad.
I feel that.
You know,
I definitely get lover girl vibes from you, but it's a more refined, like, I'm a lover girl, but I'm gonna protect myself. Like, I'm gonna protect myself and my thought process behind handling this. So I definitely picked up on that.
Yeah. So this music, this body of work is literally just like me at 27 to 30.
Wow.
Age gap going through, like, I don't know if you have heard of like the Saturn return, astrological return, but it just talks about those years into your 30s and how, you know, Saturn is this planet of refinement. It's like a principle. It's like you know, the big book. Like, did you do your schoolwork? And so, like, coming into my 30s and just going through a Saturn return. And a breakup, my first like real heartbreak. You know, I wasn't getting my heart broken in my 20s.
She was stepping on hearts, y'all.
No, not even that. I just was. I wasn't. I hadn't experienced that level of like emotion with somebody. So going through that, that's what this music.
Wow.
Just the thoughts of okay, I've gone through this, and now such and such and such and such. I feel like I'm rambling.
No, you're right on point. I'm telling you, this is what we wanted to get. What are some of your favorite moments in this project? Because I feel like there are moments in this project. The way it's arranged, and what are some of your favorite moments?
So I'll say Two Fish. My cousin, his name is Justin. Shout out to Juddy. That's my cousin. We grew up together in Michigan. He lives in California, but he is a producer. And when we were children, the first song I ever wrote was with him on a little tape recorder.
We love making music with family. I just got back from DC and I made music with all my brothers. It was so dope. My youngest brother raps now. My youngest brother is 17. He's been making music on his phone. And it sounds so good. I'm like, bro,
kids are.
Yeah. Are you kidding me? Like, for real. But go ahead, continue.
That's super dope. I love that. But yeah, just creating with family. So that is so special to have like created something with him, and to start the project off with that. That was special for me. What else? I mean, they're all so special.
Your artwork is really dope, and I do want to highlight that you're I gotta ask you too how you met with film too. Like, where did film meet you in your journey? Because your visuals, like, that's the first thing. Vic showed us your stuff like a long time ago. Victor Rashad, he showed you off, like, and I was like, yo, who is this? Like, nigga, this is hard. Like, everything you do, like your visuals, your film content, it's like very refined. It's very professional. So I gotta ask you, like, how did you get to this point of putting out visuals that are like in alignment with your aesthetic at that, because that's something that a lot of people may not understand when they pursue music. Is like, do you understand like what looks good for you? What is your aesthetic? Instead of just putting together any kind of graphics to just throw out there and say, oh, my song is out, you have a way of rolling out your art and presenting it to us in the way that is artistic, and it's not just content creation. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think that we've been talking about this lately, like being a content creator can take a lot of the art out of it. It can take the artistry out of it. So how did you get to this point with film, with the visuals, the photography, and where did you meet that craft?
So I had a little point and shoot camera in high school. Always taking pictures, always filming like these moments. I feel like, I don't know how old you are. How old are you?
26.
26, okay. So in my day, no, I'm just kidding. But when I was in high school, the thing to do was like, when you went out, you took a whole bunch of pictures. And then you go upload those to Facebook. And like the full album, I mean, people looking crazy, random. You know, it was not this curated. You know how Instagram is.
Yeah, it's so curated. That. Wow, that's interesting. That's an interesting to live through that time to now to see that. Because I mean, I remember as far as back as like MySpace, as far as social media, and from there paid attention to the evolution of it. But to see where that's gone from super raw, unfiltered to like, oh, everybody looks like a model, like they doing man, it's crazy. But that's interesting. So continue to elaborate.
So was doing all that in like high school. I get to college, I need to make money. So I buy a T3i. Shout out to Kim.
T3i is a classic. Oh my god,
first baby.
That is a classic. Wow.
And I enjoyed shooting. I was like cutting up clothes. I used to thrift a lot, and so I would sell my clothes on Depop and Poshmark. So just being this creative person, you know, you capture everything. I love like capturing moments, and so throughout college I was filming. Graduated, and my boyfriend at the time, he was like fire with the camera, very fire. Shout out to Terrence. He put me on so much.
That's dope.
And he introduced me to somebody named Chancer. And Chancer is like a cinematographer. He captures like very well. So before I met them, like my stuff wasn't really refined. I ain't giving them all the credit.
Got you. Yeah, you definitely put your time in.
I have my own eye. I have my own inspiration from different films.
Yeah, and that's what I can see. You're not just pointing and shooting camera. Like that's what I see in your content. It's like she sees something that we don't see yet, but she's gonna help us see that.
I'm sorry.
No, you good.
I love black film. Like I love 90s, 2000s, brown sugar. I love how black people were captured during that time. So a lot of times I will try to emulate the way Nia Long looked on screen. All of the 90s black actors. Like I love that film, that grainy, nostalgic look. I think we were captured beautifully. So I wish that I had like some amazing film references to.
Trust me, you talking to the right one. We ain't gotta even go there.
Yeah, you did say.
When I was in school, bro, I did not. There were only a couple films that caught my eye in film history class. I was like, okay, I remember this one. Like, I think, like recently when Drake dropped this project, he mentioned the Orson Welles film Citizen Kane. I was like, oh, I remember that. I saw that in school. But I'm not the one. I've never been the person to like be able to name stuff off top of my head. Like, oh yeah, this film referenced it. That's why I was like, yeah. When I was in school, I was like, don't come. I'm not the one that had that conversation with. I'm just gonna create. That's right. What I do. I'm not a film historian. Yeah. Even with music, like I've been like that. Like I grew up through the 2000s, like hearing all this dope music, and I could probably recognize it by ear, but couldn't tell you the artist, couldn't tell you the album it was on, couldn't tell you the title. But I'm like, oh, I know the words a little bit. You know, I know that. So yeah, none of that is. It's funny. It kind of relates a little bit to like how I grew up with my friends. They all like, guys are always heavy into sports. They notice they know everybody's stats, stuff like that. I'm like, bro, I don't know what y'all talking about. Did they win or not?
Right.
Okay, cool. What was the end result? That's it. That's all I'm here for. But yeah. Okay. Tell me a little, if you can, describe what inspired, or I don't want to put this, I don't want to position this. If you could give us a summary of each song title and what it means in 1 to 2 sentences max. Go through the list and just let us know what each of them mean.
Okay. So Two Fish is about duality.
Mm-hmm.
One side is like this naive, oh love, come back. The other side is cut it out. Cut everything out.
Mm-hmm.
Stop drinking. Stop smoking. And stand up for yourself. Be in your power.
I like that.
That was what.
Damn, so dope. Nah, keep going. That's perfect.
Felt It All is really self-explanatory. It's just like, I used to compare this song to going, like having surgery with no anesthesia. Like,
wow. I like the way you. See. Yeah, you going to do a lot of dope stuff. You're going to continue to do a lot of dope stuff because I think I saw a video somewhere recently about songwriting and like trying to paint a picture differently than just saying exactly what's happening, but giving the sensations of what's happening. Like for you to describe it that way just now, it made me feel the song differently. Like,
But
surgery
listen,
without anesthesia is crazy. That was deep.
Yeah, so that's Felt It All. Green, very self-explanatory. You black, you know what green means. You know what being green means.
Yep.
And my brother, he calls me green all the time. All the time.
Are you the youngest or oldest, or where you?
I'm second oldest. He's
second
younger
oldest.
than me, but
Okay.
he's very much, he old.
I got you.
So yeah, my brother always calls me green. And I think that in some, I'm sorry, I'm going over 2 sentences.
No, this is good. I don't forget the rules. Like throw the rules out the window. I don't know what I was doing just now. So go ahead, cook.
I think that in some experiences, because like life, you put you know where it's okay. Green is a sort of like naive and just pure raw versus, you know, when you've been through some life, you got filters up, you a little more, and so I think it's a balance of like not guarding yourself so much because you miss and block out really raw moments. But that's green. I was on a tangent. Next is Higher Self. Self-explanatory. Just it's me talking to me. It's me. It's my higher self being like, okay, boo. I haven't been gone too long. I'm back. You good. That's Higher Self.
Okay.
Quiet Storm. That was the last song that I wrote. And I really wanted to talk my shit, to be honest.
I feel.
That song was for the girls. It's for like just being our most confident, beautiful selves. Wanting that reflected to us in our partner. Somebody compared me to a Quiet Storm, so that's why I
that's dope.
Gave it that name.
I could feel that. Okay, cool. Yeah.
And then Godspeed.
Yeah, that's dope.
I was inspired by K-Dot to write this song. I don't know if he has a song called that or he just says it in one of his songs.
Yeah,
it's from his latest album.
I think so. Okay. That's dope.
Yes, so I gotta give him his credit. No, I'm just kidding. But I was very much, just from that bar alone, I remember I was like, I like this. Like, same. And then Put Me on an Island, self-explanatory. I wanted to be somewhere else during 2020.
So let me ask you this. And I can't forget, I want to talk about higher self because I think that concept of having a higher self or a higher version of yourself and understanding it, being in communication with it. I want to get into that after asking you this. What made you put Me on an Island last?
I wanted it to be like the foundation, like this is what I'm gonna leave you with. Like project yourself somewhere else. In all this, like
that's dope.
Go somewhere else. Like you can be on that island.
Wow, I like that. I like that a lot. This is crazy because I'm like, now I really got to go back and listen because it felt like a journey, and like your beat selection, the people you're working with on the sounds, it's like I said, it takes me somewhere. I'm also, as I'm listening, I'm remembering a lot of the visuals that you put out too. So it's like, you got put me on an island. I've already seen you with, in pictures and videos of you being in these tropical places. So I'm like, dang, it feels like an immersive experience. So now I definitely got to go back and listen. Okay. So higher self, that is something that I didn't start discovering that until I got here, till I met my friends. And
in Atlanta.
that's when I really started learning more about spirituality, the things that are happening in the space that we can't see or really grab and touch, the non-physical world. So me and Vic actually have a song called Higher Self, and that was like, man, it was, and it's funny because that was probably one of the first songs where like we record a lot here where we don't really write, we'll just like punch in and stuff. That was one of the first songs where I was like, as soon as I heard it, I was like, oh yeah, come on, let's just go. And I was just recording, and whatever came through me felt like that.
Yes.
Like that was my higher self, and those are the words that came out. Describe what your higher self is. What is she like? What are the types of conversations you have, and what is your understanding of your higher self in relation to your physical body, your physical existence, even your spiritual like existence? Like, describe that. Give us a little, unpack your higher self.
Just kidding. You know what? It is really just, for me, like, just this constant energy that's with me, that is, just the higher octave of whatever my thoughts are.
You be snapping. You're a poet. Go ahead. I'm gonna let you cook.
Whatever my thoughts are, whatever, whatever space I'm in, it's like I'm trying to refine my words.
It's all good. Take your time.
I know, like, recently I've been struggling with some decisions, and that girl is like, girl, the answer's right there. It's very subtle, very sweet. It's not even, sometimes I feel like that part of me is stern when I need to be with me. Like, some people will be like, gosh, you're a little boom, boom, boom. And I'm like, I'm like that with myself first. So yeah, I really look at that part of me as like an elder that just knows a lot. It just allows me sometimes to burn my hand, make mistakes. Hey, babe, come this way. Yeah.
I like that. Okay. That's dope. Because I
was gonna say, what's your
Ooh.
concept.
I'm never, I gotta do better with this. I'm always asking these questions and they always come back. And I'm like, oh, wait, I forgot. I gotta answer too.
Yes.
Yeah. I think for me, my higher self is definitely, that man is mysterious. Like, he's very mysterious because it's almost like, you ever see any of those movies where it's like an enchanting feeling to it, kind of like like when they see like a little fairy, like, oh yeah, come this way in the forest, or come walk this path. My higher self kind of like wants to show me the answers, but wants me to find them too. Like, he'll give me hints, and he's like, yeah, come this way. Or if that's not the way, he'll just look at me like, okay. I don't know, bro, but hey, experience is the best teacher. Fuck around and find out. So, that's been my relationship so far with my higher self, but lately it's been morphing more into like, exactly what the fuck going on. Like, and I don't got to tell you, so I'm gonna just sit here and wait till you accept that So
very patient. I love that. Love that.
And I think that conversation is super dope because a lot of people hear that term higher self, and they don't understand it. They may when it comes to like spirituality and it's just understanding yourself in reference to everything else. So I love to have people share that so that other people can find that within themselves. Like some people may not know that they have a higher version of themselves that doesn't exist on the physical plane yet, at least, you know.
Yeah, come on, yet.
Man.
Yeah.
So. All right. I'm trying to think. What was some of your? I already asked you this. No, actually, if you could think of anything, what are some of your favorite lines from the album? Like things that you said. And it doesn't have to be verbatim, whatever.
Yeah.
But
my homeboy was just saying how I'll do like a double entendre, and I did that on a couple songs. Yeah, I like to have little innuendos.
I like it. I like it a lot.
Yeah. No, I should have.
Even if, is there any song? Because I want to play something for them. I want to play something for the people. If there's any song you would want to play, what would it be?
That's tough.
I know. I want to play the whole thing. We'll be here for a little minute.
Right, exactly.
But I'm also be playing this on my own and just posting it because like I need people to hear this.
I so appreciate you.
Oh yeah, nah, it's nothing. Just you doing your thing. For me, creativity is so important. You know, it's like we were just talking about this yesterday. It's a big part of being human. And if you're not doing something creative, I do truly believe that creativity is the closest thing to God. Like it's one of the closest things to God. So if you haven't found your creative act, in the words of Rick Rubin, you're not going to feel like life won't feel as purposeful, as worth it. You won't feel that much substance until you find that thing. And that creativity can be how you live your life, how you wear your clothes, what you create, how you cook, you know? And so when I see people creating things authentically, I really want to showcase that because it fuels my fire. It fuels a lot of other people's fire, and it just may start somebody else's, you know?
Agree.
So,
I definitely agree.
But yeah, if any song comes to mind, we'll play it.
Okay. Yeah, I'm like,
what's something? Yeah, because if you ask me, I'm gonna play the whole damn thing. We just gonna be here all day. But let's see. Okay. I'll ask you this. Right now in your life, what mountain are you trying to climb? I know, right? It's we
that's
cooking.
So real.
Yep.
That's the real one. Right there.
Some people looking at Mount Everest. Some people looking at Mount Fuji. Like, what's your mountain?
My current mountain is getting my physical, this 3D reality, like on par, on point. I've done so much work emotionally, spiritually, very solid. But I really want to see fruits that I can touch. And the thing about that is, it's not necessarily like just money, because my needs be met. I be getting free trips, you know. But I want that on a grander scale. So yeah, right now the mountain that I'm walking on is just getting this physical reality like on par, for real. In my 30s, I want to. You say I give rich auntie, like let me for real.
I feel that.
Give rich auntie.
I was just talking with my lady about this, how the quality of your character and your spirit can bring you so much of what people pursue materialistically. And like, for example, I'm only here in Atlanta because of music and creativity. That's the only reason why I stayed. I've been afforded travel opportunities all because of music. When we depart, I have my own world. You wake up in your own world, and vice versa. Everybody has their own. Yet we're all in this big world together.
Right.
But what is Mishijah's world like? When you wake up, what do you think? What do you see? When you go to sleep, what do you think? What do you see?
So, it's lots of tea. I drink so much tea.
Damn, I gotta get coffee. I gotta get teacups for the show, because I had a guest yesterday. She was like, "You got some tea?" I was like,
Yes.
"I do, but you could drink it by yourself. I don't got coffee mugs for us just yet." But Solo Dolo podcast teacups coming soon. So yes,
lots of tea. I have like a little canopy. That's what it's called. Drapery on my bed. So when I wake up, I'm looking at like linen, and the sunlight is like coming through.
That's the vibe I get. It's so crazy. That's the vibe I get.
But I intentionally, I wanted to wake up like that.
Okay.
Yeah, it's very goofy, lots of jokes.
My friends, they love, I sometimes I make these vegan tacos, and they're so good. It's like oyster mushrooms on top of bell peppers with guacamole spread on a corn tortilla, some plantain on it. Oh, it's so good.
Now you talking for real.
It's crazy. Okay. It's crazy. We'll invite you over one time. Yes. When I cook it next time, I'll definitely invite you over. We have a lot of dinners, everybody cooks, and like it's so good.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. I love me some tacos. I'm everything. Like it's a Korean spot in Kennesaw, Tofu Village. Like, this is my hidden gem. Like they know my order. They don't give me a menu.
If they know your order is deep, they seeing her. They seeing her a lot.
Yeah. If you ever want some good tofu stew, go to Village. Shout
out. We gonna plug y'all. We gonna tag y'all right here. Yep. Go ahead, right there in the little description.
Yeah. So
that's dope.
That is my world. I probably didn't elaborate much, but lots of love, laughter, goofiness. I'm a klutz, So,
I feel you.
So I learned very early on, like everything's a joke.
Okay.
The embarrassment is not real.
It's not. Yeah. It's only embarrassment if you really feel embarrassed. But if you can joke about it, so good.
Yeah.
So good. Okay. Let me ask you this. So Solo Dolo originally started out because I wanted to capture my stream of consciousness as I was going through the day, going to work, and just like I find that the world and life will speak to you very subtly if you sit and pay attention. Nature will speak to you. You can find messages in a lot of the things that are happening around you. And that oftentimes induces an internal conversation with self that not a lot of people talk about, not a lot of people even acknowledge within themselves. They'll just think, oh, it's just a random thought or whatever, intrusive thoughts, whatever. So as I like to rock out Solo Dolo and share that, what is it like to be Solo Dolo from Mishijah? Like what is that conversation with yourself like on a daily basis? Like whether it's some funny things you notice on the street, or even just like interacting with people, like what is that conversation like as far as like how you navigate the world? Like how do you talk to yourself internally? Like do you joke with yourself internally like, man, that girl hair is toe up?
And then that second thought would be like, now why would you say that?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's definitely, it's a full, sometimes I'm like, am I okay? Like, is this normal?
Yeah.
Because I'm having full blown conversation.
Yep, full blown conversation. And I want to highlight that, like people don't like, it's one thing to be like talking out loud to yourself, and I even champion that. Like I really do believe in like speaking highly to yourself in the mirror, stuff like that. Some people look at it as like, oh, that's crazy. Like if you see somebody on the street just talking to themselves, you're gonna think, oh no, they might be a little, something might be wrong. Is everything okay? But in reality, that's their reality, right? But we all do have a conversation with ourselves a lot, but we don't acknowledge it. So I like to bring that to the forefront. What's like the most recent conversation that you had with yourself internally, if you could remember? Like off the top, just even if it was just like a little slick comment, a small moment that was just like funny, like anything.
I'm trying to remember because I just had that's sticking out to me. I can't even use that.
You can't use it. We can pass on it if you want.
No, because I love this question. I think that's very cool that you're asking that. But I'll just say generally, like that conversation that we just started, when you're like, why her hair look like that?
Somebody lace was coming up.
But then I check myself. I'm like, now why would you say that? Like, you go look in the mirror. That's why you got a booger in your nose. You know, like I'm like my own little sister, big sister.
That's dope. That's a dope dynamic to have within self. It brings a lot of balance.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Talk about your creative process. Let's get into that. Like, how do you approach songs? How do you write? How do you go about choosing beats or getting the music together as a singer, especially? Because I feel like singers are very particular. There's a lot of nuances to how you deliver your lyrics, how you sing them. And that's one thing I noticed in your music. You have very advanced riffs, a lot of very like the songwriting it's not just like a girl trying to sing and just do music. You're crafting it. Like I can hear it, the structure of the writing, the structure of the cadences, the pauses, the breaths you're taking. Like it's you can tell it's methodically put together. Like you're thinking about this stuff. It doesn't sound like you're just throwing paint on a wall. So I have to ask, if you can break down your creative process, what is it like to approach your music?
So it's so like sporadic.
We gotta learn the method to the madness.
It's not even. I wish it was this beautiful structured process. Put me on an island, in the woods, on the trail.
Wow.
I really write when I'm like inspired, or if I hear an amazing beat where I'm like, ooh, I feel that, like Green. Green and me and Green.
Yeah.
Shout out to Sydney.
Let me play that just for a second because I think I know what beat. Yep, I knew it. This beat is very interesting.
It is.
Like who made this beat?
So his producer name is Glass City.
Glass City. That's dope.
Toledo, Ohio.
I guess this is the song we'll play then.
Yeah. Are we letting it play?
Yeah, we could just let it play.
Okay.
Yeah, I really like this. This was dope. This was probably one of the most interesting beats because I also think about
go easy on the pace. I can't see the shore from here. We spill love all over the place and ignore the signs right there. I think I'm falling in love. Cause I fell asleep at the wheel. I was so green, so in love with the feel. I was a fiend, so deep. I lost control of my ship. I didn't mean to sink, yeah. So in love with the feel. I was so green, so was it ever even deep? Or did I make it up? Cause I've been struggling with sleep at night. I've been trying to grieve right. I'm trying to clear my heart, so I'm focused on my feet now. Miss Pisces on her feet now. I feel like I can breathe out. Finally I can see now.
This was the first beat I heard where I was like, dang, okay, this is an interesting taste for a singer, because I always think about how do I produce for singers, like as a music producer, how do I approach it? One of our good friends, Cassandra, she sings, she's great, and I noticed she's very particular about the sound she goes for, what she likes. Some stuff I'll just make and she's like, oh, I like that, and it's like I'm thinking it's like a rap beat, like I'm thinking about bars on this, but she wants to sing. So but this this beat is probably my favorite because it's very just the drum pattern is very unique. So I like this.
Yeah, I'm actually doing a little song breakdown on this record.
Really?
Where I really like dive into the process for this one. But just off rip, I connected to the music. That's what it is for me. It's like if I connect to the beat, I can write anything. If I feel it, and I felt this one.
I sense, and I'm gonna just go ahead and pause this and let the other stuff play again because now I have more questions. Play this lo-fi again. I noticed in a lot of your songs, there's like this texture that I feel. It's very soft, very euphoric, feels very warm, almost psychedelic. And it's like, what are these textures like? What is it about these textures, these instruments, these I think they're like pads. I'm hearing like pads, synthesizers, maybe some chords. Like, what is it about these particular sounds that like bring you to this point musically or lyrically even?
Honestly, I like you're saying these terms. I didn't know what some of these things were.
It'd be like that.
Yeah. But when I got like the stems for Felt It All, for instance, one of the, or maybe it was green, one of the stems was titled like Outer Space, something.
Oh, yeah, yep.
I'm like, that's so dope.
Yep.
One of the stems was titled Mantra. And like that's a big part of
dope.
What I wanted to create was in this project, like a lot of repetition, mantra. When I saw that, I'm like, oh my gosh, and I didn't see these things until afterward. So I think it's really just like this innate, just a drawing in mutually.
You have some very intentional producers. If they name those tracks that, because it's when we're making beats, we can rename all the tracks before we send them. So the fact that they named it Mantra, that makes me think they are aware of like sound healing, frequencies, and things of that nature. Because that's what I feel. Those are the types of frequencies I feel in your music. It's like, this is stuff I can meditate to, things I can actually connect on a deeper level to. And that brings me to my point. One of my favorite moments on the project, let me go back. I think it was, there's an interlude at the end of Felt It All. And you talked about feeling so deeply and the need to release. Emphasize on that real quick, because I thought that was my favorite moment and one of the most insightful moments of the project to me, was when you feel so deeply. And I'm a Cancer, so I feel deep, and it's to the point where I've had situations throw me off for months at a time creatively because of how it affected my energy. And I'm sure other people have experienced it too, but talk about the need to release as you're feeling so deeply. You have to create those pathways to release. That was very interesting to me.
Yeah, same, just being thrown off. I was thrown off for years. So that level of like hardening and just, life lesson showed me. And I've always been a very kind of keep it to myself person. Growing up, I was the good child, but I didn't express. I kind of kept things in. And so I definitely feel like as I aged and got into those later 20s, there was like you got a lot of pent up stuff, sis. Like you gotta let some things out. You gotta let some stuff go. And so I started doing a lot of somatic practices, which is like body work, Reiki, something that I partake in. I love yoga, but me and yoga ain't yoga in right now.
I'm telling you, I love yoga too, but it hasn't been. I have phases when I do certain things, whether it's meditate, working out, yoga, and I've come to accept that, like, all right, when it's time for me to work out, I'm gonna work out. I'm not gonna beat myself up about it. When it's time to meditate, it'll find me. Same thing with books. I'm very big on, like, I love reading. I love taking in new information, but audiobooks work the best for me. Sometimes when I'm reading a book, it can be very interesting, but I'm just tired of looking at the same page like So I allow those things to come and go as they please. But yeah, yoga, it ain't been yoga for me either. So I put it down for a second.
But I respect the practice. That's one that I think that's going to take discipline for me to actually.
It does take discipline. Because I ain't gonna lie, I found like 1 10-minute yoga video and I kept doing that same one. And then I found another one. I was like, all right, I'm gonna just stick to these 2. And I realized you have to expand. Like you have to, if you're doing yoga, you got to keep expanding. You have to do other exercises. Because that's what made it interesting in the first place. It was stretching that I had never done before and breathing that I'd never done before. So I was like, okay, dang, this is dope. But then I think my body just got used to the stuff I was doing. It was like, yeah, you need to do something else because this, you ain't even stretching. You don't even feel nothing.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah. So literally like yoga, breath work is, I'm a very firm believer in breath work and like monitoring the breath and being present. And because, you know, a lot of us take very shallow breaths.
Yes.
We don't breathe deeply.
That's funny. My girlfriend will watch movies sometimes and she's laying on me and she'll ask me like, are you okay? Can you breathe? I'm like, oh, my bad. No, I'm good. But I'm just breathing deeply and she thinking like, oh, it's making her feel like, am I too heavy? Like, nah, I just breathe deep. Like that's just me.
It's cool. Yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes I would have shallow breaths and I'm like realizing, I'm like, okay. And I'll breathe. And yeah. So.
Let it out.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, even creating. So just these different pathways of like release. This project was a huge release for me. Like I don't share a lot of what I'm going through unless I know, you know, like I try not to wear it. So for me, it's like, okay, I put it out, it's done. Like I don't have to carry this with it.
Right.
So yeah, I definitely am big on funneling things out. Like not holding, don't stay light. Stay as light as you can be. Because, you know, in life, you're going to pick up different things are going to happen, and you just want to transmute it.
Got you. Let me ask you this. When we talked about situations and things throwing us off creatively or our energy, and you say it threw you off for years, how do you get back? Like, what is the rope back to the way you came, to the place you want to be? What does that rope look like to get back there? Like, how do you reel yourself back in?
You know what? I wouldn't even say it's like going back. I think it's like a new, you know, some experiences I think shift you. And so now you have like a totally different perspective.
That's true.
New level of awareness. You can't go back. Like back does not exist anymore. Now this is like the new world. And so, yeah, thrown off for years, but it's something about. Have you read The Alchemist?
Yep.
Okay.
Love it.
It's something about that process.
Yeah.
The dropping the egg, the whole story.
Yep.
And the whole time, the treasure was within. Or,
Yep.
you know, I'm comparing it to myself. But like, just it's something about the real raw process of like going through every emotion. I used to. I'm getting so personal. But there were like moments where I was just like driving in circles around like different neighborhoods, just
trying to figure it out.
Yeah. Just going through a moment and just like I'm just gonna drive. And so it's something of I remember those very raw moments, so I have that coded with it. You know, like I think the process and like going through things like builds you up spiritually, internally. And you know, you just get new levels of awareness. So now you navigate life sharper.
I feel that.
I hope that answered the question.
No, I definitely did. I'm just here on the journey, like with you, just listening. So thank you for sharing that and being so personal with us, because I think people need to see that. Like they have to see the interpersonal side of the conversation, and it'll help people connect. That's all we're really here to do. We're here to you know, influence the connectivity between all of us and understand that we're all connected. Like everything is related to one another. And so, yeah, I appreciate that. You recently did a performance on I forget, it's called the Lyrical Parlor. And I felt like I seen their content before. I was like, yo, this is dope. This is really dope. And I was glad to see you up there. I was like, this is right on time. This is right on time. So
They're fire.
how was that?
It was good. It was a good experience. It's so funny though because recording, writing is one part of the process.
Yep.
As an artist,
Mm-hmm.
and then being in front of the camera, performing, being
Completely
in front of
different.
a crowd
Completely different.
is
Wow.
another side, and that side is not my most comfortable at all.
Being in front of the crowd,
The crowd performing, you know,
performing.
having to
Yeah. I feel that.
curate this.
Bring that
stage.
persona back
Yeah, this
to go back
persona.
to that place that you were in that song. And
Exactly.
I feel that.
So sometimes I'm like nervous. I was a little nervous going to do that, but I'm like, at this stage in the game, I'm just girl. That's my higher self. Like, get yourself out of it.
Yeah,
I don't
yeah,
care none of that. So it was good to like flex that muscle.
Mm-hmm. It's always good.
They have a really cool setup. I was inspired by just what they have going on. So
It's dope. Shout out to the Lyrical Parlor.
shout out to the Lyrical Parlor. Yeah.
All right. Trying to think what else. I feel like I could talk to you all day.
Yeah, this is such a good, like, I've been on, I can't even, we gotta say,
Look, she's about to put somebody in the dirt. But go ahead.
this was a really good conversation. Like, I feel like it was so natural and just so many gems. I've enjoyed talking to you, getting
Absolutely.
to know some of your story.
Absolutely.
Yeah, this is good. This is real good.
I'm glad. That's what we're here to do. Dang, I'm trying to think out before we go if I have
Right.
anything else, because Lord knows I'll cut this camera, cut the
Right,
mic, and I'll be like, wait.
Shoulda, yeah.
And that's what I love about the podcast, because I set the standard for myself to not be such a perfectionist, you know. And I remember what I wanted to ask you now too. But yeah, I think that perfectionism, and we could talk about perfectionism, but what is it like for you mentally, spiritually, when you perform for people? Like, what is that inner voice like at that point? Like, how do you handle that as an artist? Because I think that is also an art. Like, people don't really talk about the psychology that goes into performing for other people and putting yourself out there in a way that you're vulnerable. You can be just on the spotlight with people. So
Yeah, it used to be very like, okay, I have to go and perform and I'm going to sing my song. It used to be very critical, analytical, scary. And once I really got more into creating and being an artist, it's like, okay, this is a moment, first of all. This is a moment where I have this energy, this attention on me, and I want to give it back. I'm here to like, not perform, but I'm here to entertain. So let me like show up. Let me show up, get rid of whatever I'm thinking about, and like really sing the song and just be felt. You know,
Yep.
like let me get out of my head about this. And like you said, perfectionism. It doesn't exist.
Yeah.
Just be your real
Just
self.
be your real self. Oh my God, that perfectionism is a real killer. Like, it slows down a lot of the process, and I feel like, especially with when I asked you, how do you make your way back to that place, or rather, as you said, how do you accept where you are now, and start again? That was my bigger thing that I wanted to get to, like how to start again after being thrown off by something. And sometimes perfectionism can really stop you from starting.
Yeah.
So that's like with the podcast. I mean, I had to throw that out the window immediately when I first started this thing. It was just like, you know what? I need to create more content. I want to put myself out there more, but I need to do it in a way to where it's low maintenance for me. Doesn't require much editing. So you know what? I'm gonna cut this camera on. I'm gonna talk. I'm gonna cut it off. That's the video.
Yes.
That's what y'all getting. So.
Yes. And that raw, I think authenticity is it already is, you know, it trumps that curated Instagram perfectionism.
Yeah.
No, authenticity is what I think is the future of anything in the online space, because everything is so fake and AI and like people are gonna crave, because we're human first before we get on these phones and like create our personas. We really are human. We want the real, the raw. So Yeah, I love that you just click, sit down, let's go.
Yep. Let's do it.
Yeah.
All right. I feel like it's so much. I gotta have you on here again.
Yeah.
And we definitely gotta do this again because
Good.
I feel like there are things that we still need to talk about. I don't know what they are right now, but I think we got out everything we could for today. But we definitely got to sit down and talk again. I really enjoyed this.
I would be honored. Likewise.
Yeah.
Likewise. This was a great experience. It was very natural. I can't say. I'll wait till we cut the camera off.
Okay. All right, but usually we have I like to have our guests sign us off on the show, so you can, however you want to tell them. I usually say you just rocked out Solo Dolo with your boy. However you want to say it, you can sign us off.
Okay. Ooh, let me.
Yeah. Everybody always like, hold on, this my Disney Channel moment.
Yeah, literally.
So let me go ahead and get this right.
Listen, thank you guys for tuning in and sitting with us. I hope y'all enjoyed this conversation as much as I did, as much as Chris did. Mm-hmm. Shout out to, tell me again one more time, Solo Dolo.
Solo Dolo Podcast.
Solo Dolo Podcast. Shout out to Solo Dolo Podcast. Take care.
Peace. Blessings on to you.
Ooh, I love that.
Hey, yo, Chris, where you at? I'm in town.